Great. And I know Linda. Yay, and then Melinda's here too. Yay. So the star of the show, or the what I want to do is really talk up these Niji Artist Crayons that we've had for a little bit, not for very long, but for a little while. We've got them in two configurations. We have a 18 color set and a 12 color set. And these are not your mama's crayons or grandma's crayons. These are highly pigmented, and they go on really nicely. And I'm going to just show you some ways to just kind of loosen up your art practice. You're just to have some fun. Really not an end project necessarily, but just ideas on how you can use it. And of course, anytime you have questions, please ask, and I'm happy to show you. So that's one thing. I'm going to really talk up our Niji crayons. And I'm going to use two different papers today, two different surfaces, just so you can see. I've got only the two. I'm going to use the sketch paper, or the 6H, which is my favorite go-to because it's just so versatile. It's the weight is really nice, kind of a medium weight, and it accepts watercolor and all kinds of mixed media techniques, gel printing, anything you want to do with it, it pretty much does let you do it. And then I'm also going to talk about the mineral paper today. Mineral paper, this 11 by 14 size, it is 160 pounds. It's a lot heavier than our original mineral paper, which is a lot lighter. I think is 80 pound. I might be wrong. I hope I'm right.
Sorry about that. This is the 240-pound one, and then the lighter one is the 150. Yep.
Yeah, sorry. You know what I was reading? The 240 GSM, 160 pound. I was reading the little thing. So yes, it is heavier, and it's one thing I noticed that is different that I'm really happy about is in the past on the lighter weight mineral paper, when I've used a wax or oil-based crayon or anything like that, it would buckle. And I'm finding out today, or actually the past few days, that when I use the wax crayons and this is the wax crayon that I have done on the thinner mineral paper, and it kind of buckled a little, not a deal breaker, but it did buckle. And it lays totally flat. So I'm just happy to report that, it's a very nice surface to do some little more heavy duty mixed media techniques on. I'm going to show you how I do Sgraffito, which is, I think these are fun. It's like Inktober. We're getting into the fall season. We get into darker colors. Think of Halloween, just fun. Sgraffito. Sgraffito is like a scratch art. If you remember scratch art, remember those little funny panels we got when we were younger, or at least if it wasn't us, it was our kids. And we scratched into a black surface, creating some fun art. And that's something I did. I'm going to show you how I did that today. And I'm also going to show you something else that we have that's fairly new. It's a Vermilion Sumi ink. Now, I've been kind of, this is actually another version of what we had in the past. It's a little it's less toxic. It's a little bit thinner, and it can be mixed with the black ink. And I'm going to show you how fun it is to make kind of a sepia colored Sumi ink, which it kind of changes the way the Sumi paintings look. You can see this is a brown, it's much warmer tone than the black. And I really like this. I think I'm going to start really exploring making Sumi ink a little bit more brown and just kind of creating a different feel to it. So I'm going to show you a little bit. I'm going to demonstrate how I did that and how fun that is. But okay. And then I'm going to talk about the crayons in other ways. I have to show you. Yesterday, I was involved in this wonderful group with Wendy Solganic, and her name's Kimberly Hauser, I believe was her last name. She's an art therapist, and we did this exercise. It was a very meaningful exercise, and I happened to have my Niji Artist crayons because that's what I have, and we used crayons to create basically just to do some mark making and watercolor over it. And this was using mineral paper as well, because I love that mineral paper doesn't wrinkle. So I got this gorgeous little effect just by doing the blender crayon first, and then watercolor, and just really, really fun. So what it did though, is it opened me up a little bit to think of an idea to make a painting, the very, very intuitive, loose painting of these roses using just kind of going blindly with the crayon and then coloring with watercolor. And I wanted to just share with you that. I don't know if I'll have time to do that today, but what I did is I just made these little spirals into the white mineral paper. You can't see what you're doing, which makes it more fun. It's kind of like drawing with your left hand, right? It's kind of like it's sort of intuitive. It makes it fun. And then I found, as I colored with the pink or the rose colors, I found those spirals and then I built roses over it. And that's kind of how I did that, just so you know. And then I just started watercoloring. And mineral paper accepts watercolor way differently. And it's, like I said, it lays flat, which is incredible. So I wanted to share those with you today because it's just fun. So let's go over some things. Oh, here we go. I'm going to move this out of the way so it's just out of the way. And I'm also, if I have time, I'm going to show you how I do my little chops today, because some of you have asked about that. And today I made some really fun origami kind of paper out of the 6H paper, and I want to show you how I did that using the ink. This one is a mixture of the vermilion and the black. This kind of nice brown color, warm color. And what I did first, I'm going to show you how I did it. First, you need either stencils, which I have these, like a stencil like this, or you can use texture plates. If you don't have texture plates, they're really fun because they're fun. It's like you put crayons over it and make rubbings, and you can buy these off Amazon. School supplies have them, and it's really, a fun thing to use, especially. Oh, Julie's here. Hi, Julie. And Patricia. And oh, that's so nice to see people here. Yay. So I'm going to just show you how I did this. I will show you this one here. It was the first one I just kind of played with. I rubbed over the stencil with the rice paper or the 6H paper. I rubbed over it with white. And I rubbed over it really well. And then I did some marks with the other colors, and then I just used black ink. So I'm going to show you how I did that right now. So I'm going to grab, just so I have I know I'm going to make a mess. I'm really good at that. I'm just going to grab some palette paper and take my little texture plate here. And what I love about these texture plates, you can use either side. It's kind of neat. And I think I got these off Amazon, just so you know. And I'm going to take a piece of rice paper, or I keep saying rice paper, washi paper. I'm just going to grab a sheet. Whoops. Did you hear that? I just tore. Oh, boy. There we go. That's better. I'm just going to lay it right on top of my palette paper. And this is just fun. This is the time where you play. You're not doing it because you got to make something perfect. You want, have no purpose in mind except just to play, just to have fun. And I have some of my artist crayons that I've been using that are kind of, I like to take them off the wrapper when I do this. So I'm going to take the white, the white crayon, and I'm going to take the wrapper off. And what's nice about these crayons, the wrapper comes off super easy. And now you can lay it on its side and do some major good stuff. Now, of course, with the white, I can't see what's underneath. I'm going to do a little light color just to kind of show you. Let me just grab a blue here. I'm going to just take, since I don't have, I need to keep my paper not moving over this little texture plate. So however you do that, if you just want to hold it, just keep it from shifting, because then you won't get a very good impression. So I'm just sliding it over there I go, keeping it in the same position, I'm hoping. And now I'm going to really hit it with the white, just so I have some nice concentrated marks. Now I'm going to go in different directions, like kind of out. And I'm really just going to get it into the surface of the paper. And if you want to change it up, you can give more texture to your paper or to your print or whatever your final thing is. You can by just switching it around. But I'm just going to leave it white, just so you can see. I'm going to move the little texture away, and I'm going to sit on top, and I'm going to pour myself no, just kidding. I'm going to pour myself some ink. So I've got this black ink, which is KY12. I love this one with the pour spout. We have a 6 I believe it's 6 ounces. We also have a little small one, but I like this one because of the pour spout. It makes for less mess, and you can just pour out what you need. And you just put it back on, because ink can get everywhere, and I just try to keep that to a minimum. So I'm going to use that. And this basically will soak beautifully into the paper. And I'm going to grab a brush, and I can wet the brush with water in advance, just slightly dampen the brush. And now I'm going to just take my ink full strength, and I'm just going to paint. And this is where the fun thing happens. And you can do little notes to make a little activity out of it by writing a note, and a note to yourself even, or a note to someone, a friend, a loved one, and have them find out what it says by painting over it. But that's kind of a fun idea. Now, I notice as I'm sitting here, it's actually a very calming scent. If you haven't used Sumi ink, this stuff before, there is a scent that's infused into these inks that is actually designed to make you calm. It's like a kind of a eucalyptus smell. I don't know exactly what the plant is, but it has a kind of a nice calming smell. And so if I take a nice slow breath, of course it's hard to do when I'm talking, but take a nice slow breath and just kind of enjoy making these brush strokes over the crayon. And I can make them go in any direction, be expressive, or move them around, or just go solid, whatever you want to do. But I really think it's a very relaxing activity, and you'll be able to use this paper for something later on. I'm going to use this paper as an origami. So the Patricia, these are not water soluble. These are wax based. And so that means that's why they're not moving around. Now, if I used a water soluble crayon under here, of course, we would be able to get the coverage. Now I'm going to dilute, I'm going to add some water to this because I want it to really soak in. So I'm just putting a little water in my ink, and it's still reading as black, but it's actually going on a lot better. And I could also use a sheep hair brush, which I didn't grab. I'm going to do that real quick. I'm going to grab myself a sheep hair brush, which is a Hake brush that we carry, that we offer, and it's really inexpensive. This is the BFC one. What I like about these, I'm going to show you how much ink it's going to hold, and it will also hold lots of water too. So it's a lot. It'll make for quicker work of covering your paper. There you go. So I'm just going to add a little water to that. I'm going to grab a little water out of my dish or out of my jar, and I'm just going to, there we go. Now this is what I should have done. Because I've got a lot, it's a thirsty brush. I'm able to do a lot of coverage. Now, one thing it's doing is I'm going to wait for it to dry before I do the next thing, but I can bring the color out even more. See how it's kind of faded a little? Once this dries, once the ink dries, I'm going to just buff it with a little baby wipe, and it'll just pop the colors even more. I'm going to try it right now. Let's see if I can do it while the ink is still wet. I've got a little baby wipe here, and I'm just going to see if I can pull up. Yeah, I'm going to wait for it to dry. But you see how you can pull up to get that a little bit lighter if you want, but wait for it to dry, because right now the paper is really delicate. And the cool thing, if you want to paint on both sides of your paper, you can actually do the opposite side. And you've got double-sided paper if you're doing origami. And there's some of you that are origami people. I know that some of you here love to do origami with me, or just origami in general. There we go. So that's now going to be a double-sided paper with blue on one side, or this nice texture on one side and black on the other. But I'll wait for that to dry, and then I can just gently lift off the extra ink that might be on the thing. But there you go. There's a really fun way to make a really dramatic paper. I'm just going to sit that to the side for now. And that's just one little fun way. So that's using the rice paper and the crayons. Well, let me show you when you use the mineral paper. So let me get this out of the way. And just going to show you when you work with mineral paper. So if I wanted to take, this is thicker, but I've also used the thinner stuff, but I'm going to use the same little template or the same little rubbing thing. And I'm going to put, oh, what the heck, let's see, try pink because it's October and it's that time of the year. Okay, so now I'm just taking that and I'm rubbing it over with pink, just to start. We'll see if I can maybe mix up a color. What I love about these crayons is they are blendable. That means you can add another color and create a new one. So you could just see I'm making this gorgeous purple by just layering it over the pink. Look at that, isn't that gorgeous? Love that. And there are darker colors too, but I'm going to do I want to do black ink, so I want the brightness of the lighter colors. I'm going to take a little white and just rub it over that. Just kind of to just see what I can get. All right. So now I've got this thing happening. So I'm going to take the ink again, the same ink. It's fun to use the brown, but I'll show you the brown in the next thing. There we go. Taking the ink. Oops, I got it on my hands. Oh no. Not too bad. Okay. I'm going to just take it and I'm going to just do it. Now this, you'll notice it beads right up. Okay, this is because we have a water, a resist of the crayon is resisting. And oh, it's so nice. Oh, I love that, the way it beads up. Now, when it dries completely, I can also do the same thing, lift it up a little bit, lift some of that color up and to brighten it up. But I like it like this. I think it looks really pretty cool. So isn't that pretty? Just love it. So there we go. So let's let that dry, and then I'll take that and maybe do a little lifting with I'll try it right now. Why not? So just like, of course, the ink should be dry before I do that. So no, I'm not doing. I keep trying to do it before I should. I'll let this dry. Now the difference between, like, if you want to do Sgraffito, which is a really fun technique. Let me just show you that one. I'm going to set this. I'm going to peel this off my palette so I can let that dry on there. And you notice there's no wrinkling. The mineral paper is fabulous. It will not wrinkle. There we go. Let's set it down on my floor. And I'm going to try to tell you about Sgraffito technique using a different ink. Now, it's not something we carry, but it's something you need to know about so that you can have more options. You notice this is completely black. So I'm going to show you. I'm going to take a little piece of mineral paper, a big one. This is a half sheet. I'm going to just put colors on mine. I'm not going to do real big. I'm just going to keep the area real small. But let's say you just want to color and you feel like you want to get something out. You're like, I just want to get something in, I've got something on my mind. I'm just going to get it out and put it on paper. And you're not trying to make anything particular. You're just making a physical action of creating these marks, which is a really healthy, good thing to do. Just loosen yourself up, and who knows what's going to come out of this. But just kind of, you're basically laying down color. Now you can do it all bright in different colors, or you can just keep to one color, part of the color family. Oh, let's see, what am I doing? Well, I'm going to add a little yellow just to show you how these crayons blend. So this will turn into an orange. The underneath will turn into a green. And yeah, so I'm getting these really nice variations of color. And what I'm going to do is really lay a lot of color down. If you want to add a little white or some muted colors, you can do that. There's so many things you can do. Here, I'll grab the white and I'll even just drag it all the way across to kind of blend it. And you can see it softens it and brightens it up a little bit. And this is so much fun. I tell you, I'm having fun. I'm getting my exercise. And I'm really just loosening up, and I really like the texture and that it's really beautiful. But the thing is, I built up layers underneath this stuff here. So and my drawing area is only going to be here. I normally would just trim it, but I'm going to show you the different ink that I use to make the Sgraffito. Now, what I have is Higgins ink. It is Black India ink, waterproof drawing ink. So you want something like this, and this is the only one. I know there's something else they call it. Forgot what it's called now, but you want waterproof drawing ink. So I'm going to just tell you Higgins is the one that I use. Now, I don't know, you'd have to test others to see if it works. But the difference between the Higgins and the Sumi ink is that Higgins is going to stick over the crayons. It will not, doesn't resist. It's amazing. So I'm going to put it on there. It just lays right on there, nice and dense. And then I'm going to just let that dry. Once it's covered completely, the area that I want to do my drawing in or my scratching, I just let it dry. Set it aside and let it dry. So this is the thicker mineral paper with a big layer of color. And I have one I prepared ahead of time, so you don't have to wait for this to dry. Of course, the one I prepared ahead of time is bright and lots of different variation of colors. I just want you to see what you can do. And this would be a fun project to do if you prepare these ahead of time. Let's say you have grandkids coming over, or you have your kids are at home, or they want to do something fun for just an activity for the weekend. You prepare this ahead of time so that the ink is, or let them color on the page. Then if you feel bold, brave, and you want them to deal with ink, but if you don't, you can cover it and let it dry, and then let them scratch into it and make some art. So let me just show you the next step. So I'm just going to put that brush away here. Now here's the one I had prepared ahead of time. I'm just going to set that one aside. And this is my little scratchy thing. So I'm going to tell you the tools you can use. You can use a palette knife like this, or you can use like a nail file, nail tool. You don't want it to be too scratchy, like you don't want to put holes in your mineral paper. I prefer the palette knife. You can even just use your fingernails if you want, but you don't want dirty fingernails. But you don't want something really super sharp. You want something that has like a sharpish edge, but not too sharp. And I really do like this palette knife because it's not going to cut. It's not going to cut me. The edge isn't, but it will scrape into the stuff. So I'm going to just show you what I do. Just kind of a simple thing, and it's so relaxing. So this has to be perfectly dry, like completely dry. I'm just going to see if everybody's good. So I think it's been a couple hours since I prepared this. And I'm just going to start, and you can make any design you want, but I'm just going to do leaves because I've been on a leaf kick lately. I'm just going to start, and I'm going to scratch my first shape, my first line, and then you'll see there's a little bit of crayon, like ink and crayon that kind of comes off the sides. And I'm just going to make little leaves, and you can do as thick or as thin of a line as you want. You can scratch a little or as much as you want. This is kind of fun. I'm just going to do like a loose leaf thing. And this, I have to kind of angle it so that I can get my lines. There we go. Different widths. That one I just need to go a little deeper. But really, there's like, it's endless. It's kind of fun. You can just kind of make, little lines, small lines like this, like mindfully, or you can just be real scribbly and just kind of have fun. Once you scratch it off, you can't unscrew it. It doesn't come back on. But I think if you wanted to correct it, if you felt like, oh, I don't like that, you could always put some more ink over it. I don't think it's all lost. But the whole point of this is not, it's not to make a, something that put on the wall necessarily, but it's something like an exercise, and it's really fun. So I'm just going to go like this and just kind of make little lines. But you see how fun that is? I mean, I think it's a blast. I'm going to try, just for fun, I'm going to try this tool. I haven't used it yet. This is one of those little nail pusher things. I'm just going to see if I can make some bold. Oh yeah, so I can scoop out bold areas of color. Ooh, that's wild. It's very uncontrollable. It's actually, wow. It's I don't have any control with that, which is probably a good thing. I tend to tighten up when I think I'm trying to make a pretty picture, and I just tend to tighten up. So this is definitely something that you can't be tight. You can just be loose. So that's kind of what I'm going to show you about Sgraffito, how fun it is. You want to just make little marks like these little, just little hatch marks and doodles. You can do this, and you can just prepare one of these, have it by your phone, or, have it somewhere in your close to you where you just feel like doodling a little. How fun is this? You can make some fun little doodly things and just have fun with it, and bring the color out, and as much color as you want you can bring out. So that's Sgraffito. And if I wanted to later, I could, it feels really kind of sticky. So I'm thinking if I wanted to sort of seal this, let's say I really liked it and I wanted to make it into a card or wanted to do something. I'm thinking, I haven't tried this before. I'm thinking I could seal it with some of this microglaze. I'm not sure. I'm going to try right now and see what happens. Perfect time to experiment, right? So I'm just going to take my microglaze. I'm going to just see what happens when I put it on top. And if it seals it and it doesn't come off on my hands, then I know we're doing something. So I'm just going to see. It may or may not rub off the ink, but no, it seems to be. Oh, it makes it super shiny, and it feels like some of the ink is coming off, but I kind of like I like this effect. Oh, it's kind of fun. Okay, so the wax, this is a wax, microcrystalline wax. So it's kind of creating a patina or a very interesting finish on my Sgraffito, and I really like it. It feels really interesting. I don't know if you can see that, but it's removing some of the density of the ink, and it's creating this really nice sort of background. So I like that. So you can mess around and try if you wanted to seal it. Now, yes, I think that if I wanted to cut it out and put it on something, that's sealed. It's sticky on the side I haven't done. I'll just do the whole thing. Why not? Just to, it's always good. This is the time where we play. We try things. This is how I discover things that work or don't work in art, is I just get to give myself permission to play and not, just see what happens. And so, yeah, this is fun. This is actually kind of softening that Sgraffito a little bit and pulling up some of the ink, but it's also, yeah, I like it. I like it, and sealing it so it's not sticky anymore. Oh, yeah, so there's a way to get your pieces more finished. Okay.
Karen, by the way, Jane's
Yeah.
asking if the microglaze is like Dorland's cold wax.
It's not. Dorland's cold wax has some, I believe, I'm going to look at it right now. I believe it has some varnish in it. Dorland's, let me make sure. Okay, so the difference between, this has a mineral spirit, I believe. Let's see what's in there. I'm pretty sure it is like it has some kind of mineral spirit in it. This is just not. So this contains beeswax. Okay, Dorland's contains beeswax, paraffin, resin, Damar resin, mineral spirit. So let's see. This is just this one is only paraffin wax and some oil, some kind of oil. I don't know. But let's see what happens. I'll put some of the Dorland's on there. And actually, I'll put it on the one that I did before and see what it does. Why not? This is a good way to see if you can seal stuff. Okay, so there's Dorland's on the bottom of that. And it may dissolve. It may not. We'll see. Now Dorland's has, it has a harder finish than the microglaze will. I think it will have a harder finish. So now I'm going to just kind of rub it and see if it rubs off the. Yeah, kind of flat. It mats it up, which is interesting, and it does rub the ink off. So it's a little more. It's a little more solvent because it's sort of a solvent for the ink. I'm seeing that. So, and it doesn't make it shiny. It kind of flattens it out, which is not a bad thing. So you could. So here's the microglaze, which see how shiny it made it, and it makes it feel less sticky. And this one on here kind of matted it out. I'll wait for it to dry. Maybe it will seal it, and then it won't remove any more of the ink. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But thank you for bringing that up. That's really good information, and hopefully it can pass on. Some of the bad experiments that are good, you can get something out of, and if the ones aren't good, then not to go there. Right. The other thing I wanted to share. Okay, this is what I wanted to share before. Yeah, you've got some time. My table's getting messier. Now, I wanted to talk about ink, since this is Inktober. We've got, oops, not that. That's not the stuff. I'm going to talk about the Sumi ink. I'm going to do a couple of things. I'm going to take this paper, and I'm going to use my little black, what do you call it, felt, which we've been, I've been doing a lot of stuff with the felt. And yes, you use the microglaze to seal your journal pages, Susan. Absolutely. That is what I use. I love this for just in between sticky pages on your journals. That's really mainly what I use it for. Another thing is if, let's say you have an inkjet print and you want to seal it, you can seal the inkjet print without causing, it won't ruin it won't shift the color. Just so you know, I also, if you happen to be a Tim Holtz fan, which I am, Tim Holtz has something called MicroGlaze. It's one and the same. It's Judikins MicroGlaze, but he called it Distress Glaze. It's part of the Distress line, but it does exactly the same thing. It basically comes from the same people. So just so you know, if you happen to have some Distress Glaze, they're one and the same, and you can use it for doing the same thing, for sealing your papers and all that. I don't think I would use any of the solvent-based ones like Dorland's or the Gamblin product. That one is cold wax medium. These I wouldn't do, so I wouldn't use them in that way. They're just for different reasons. I use these for other things though. Okay, let's see. It's like I would use the wax medium to seal this, but the wax medium will dissolve my Niji crayon. So I won't do that on this piece because, it will dissolve it. So I would use a matte medium, an acrylic medium over this. Let's say I finish my work and this is a collage. I just my final marks were some pencil and some of the Niji, this Niji one right here. I just kind of crayoned over it. And I used matte medium to seal that. So, then if you want to put some microglaze or something over that, that's fine. But you don't want to put microglaze or any of the wax mediums over your crayons. They will dissolve. So they'll just disappear. It's like an eraser. If you want to erase your crayon marks, that's how you can do it. So I'm going to get to this. I'm going to pour some black ink. And I'm going to get into a little ink painting, just simple ink painting thing real quick, because I want to show you something. We have this orange colored ink. It's Vermilion, very traditional in Asian painting, but I'm kind of discovering some fun things. And we just got this in, right, Phoebe? We have it. It's available.
It is available, but it might not be at all of your stores yet. Since
Okay.
it's just, but it's in our warehouse. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, good. Well, what's cool about it, I'm going to show you just something that I love to do in black only. So I'm going to turn this way so you can see, and I'll move all my stuff. This is where, when I'm doing ink painting, I'd rather have a clear desk, clear mind. But, I'm trying to do a lot of things today, but, usually I don't shift like this so suddenly from crayons to inks. But I'm going to show you just something that's really cool. So normally, I love doing this origami or this very loose style drawing. I'm just going to do this kind of a leaf thing here. Right here, I'm just going to create kind of a very loose leaf using my SW2O. This is the all-purpose SW2O. I love it because it's inexpensive, and it also is awesome for drawing like this, for just making ink, for like making lines like this. I'm just going to do a third one. It's fall, so I'm thinking of the fall leaves falling off the trees, changing up. Now there it is, black, right? So let's take, I probably have too much in there. Let me see if I can mix some of that in this. Okay, so now I'm going to take the old Vermilion. So Vermilion by itself is actually traditionally used. I didn't know this until recently, that it's originally used to correct calligraphy students. Like you'd put like an X, it's kind of funny. But I'm just going to take my dip pen, and if you haven't tried this little dip pen, this little dip brush pen combo is awesome. So I'm just going to write Vermilion. So it's this orange color, and it's really awesome for making seals. Like if you wanted to do like a little seal on the side of your painting, or chop, or whatever you want to call it, your signature, like that, whatever. You can do that. You can actually use that for that, but straight. Some people do calligraphy and just write, and it's great on the rice paper. It's a very pretty ink. You can make marks with it, which I think is really fun. But here's what I want to show you. There's something that I just kind of started playing with this week, and I had to share it with you. So this can be mixed with the black ink. and you can make a gorgeous warm tone, almost like a sort of a very warm Sumi ink color. And I really love this because it changes everything. So I'm going to take some of the black and mix it. There was black already in my dish, and I've made this gorgeous brown, and I can change the type of, brown, the depth of brown. Can add a little more black, I think, just to give it just a little bit more deep. And now I'm going to do the same type of painting, but I'm going to do it with this gorgeous brown. It changes everything. It still reads as black, but it's a warmer color, and I'm really liking the way that it looks. And so you can use that vermilion to tone your Sumi ink down to create these gorgeous sort of earthy tones of Sumi ink. And I really, really love that. I think that you would probably, just for that alone, now that gives it a whole new meaning for me, because now I like the black, but sometimes it's very harsh, if that makes sense, just kind of harsh. I like it, but this is the softer look. So I wanted to share it with you that. And then it works just like it does if you're working, this one I did earlier. I was able to use Ganzai watercolors, and it did not bleed. In a sense, it didn't shift or change when I put water over it. So you can see it stayed right where it stayed put, just like the Sumi ink would, but it just warmed it up a little. So I wanted you to see that. I wanted you to know that it's a versatile and amazing medium. It's like just a demo real quick. If you wanted to take some, let's see. I don't have my Asian brush, but I'll just use I'll use a fusion brush for that. If I wanted to take some color and add, I can just go ahead and just do it, and it's not going to move around. So you can just it's basically waterproof once it hits the rice paper. You can't, if you did this on a sized paper or a regular paper, that wouldn't be the same. It would be different. So, if you wanted to add color on the washi paper, it's just gonna stay. It doesn't bleed again. It's permanent. That's not
Also,
my
Karen, could you, like not right away, but when you hit a point later, could you show, maybe bringing it up to the camera a little closer, the difference between the black and then the like sort of sepia color that you got?
Yeah, you mean
It's a little hard to see.
these or these?
I'm thinking she means what's on the paper.
So here's the
Yeah.
black. And then see how it just shifts. It might not read as well on the screen because, maybe my camera, who knows, but I see a really definite difference in the warmth. I don't know if you see it
Yeah.
yet. Can
I
you
think
see
I
it?
can. I'm looking at it on two different screens, so one screen is clearer than the other, but maybe we can get a picture afterward and then we can post it and then you can everyone can see
Sure.
it a little bit better there.
You know what
Yeah,
we
thank
could
you.
do? I know what I could do. This might help. I'm just going to take a strip of paper, just what I had that I tore off earlier, and I'm going to do a swatch. And we'll see what we get. Let's do it with the thick with this thing. I think that would probably show. It's probably gonna show it better than the line will. So let me just make sure I don't have any of the Higgins ink mixed with that. And I'm just gonna get that off there. Okay, I'm gonna take the black. I'm gonna do a swatch of black and let that go in there. I'm gonna clean my brush off as much as I can. And I'm gonna do some brown. And I think that will dry. You'll be able to see the difference. I think you can probably see it even right now, the difference. It's not dry yet, but you'll see that brown. See, there we go. It's a lot easier to see, right?
I think that's a lot clearer. Yeah, I hope that
Yeah.
helps.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So then
thank
you can change, the depth or the warmth and the depth. I mean, it's amazing. So if I wanted to add a little more of the orange, or the vermilion, I can warm that up even more. Or if I just want to tone it just a little bit down, make it just like a black brown, I can do that. And that warms it up from this cooler black to a warmer black. I'm just going to show you the difference. So you've got this warm black versus a cooler black here. So yeah. So have fun with that. I want you to try because I'm really mesmerized with this now that I can tone this much easier than I would if I were to try to add watercolor or acrylics or anything else. And it's a Sumi ink, so it makes it more, authentic, I guess is the word. So have any of you been interested in how I make my chops or seals? If you are, I'm going to tell you how I do it, because these little seals, I just made this one today. Gotta tell you the right way and the wrong way to do it, because I did the wrong one too. So these little seals, I love using these to sign my work, because it makes just huge difference in your pieces if you have a little signature like this, something like that. It makes, especially when you're working on the washi paper. And this one was a little one I carved out of this eraser, and I use this stuff. But if you have other stuff, you can, of course, I use like Speedy Carve by Speedball. It's okay, but see how thin it is. Then it's harder to hold in your hand as a chop. So I like this for doing block printing, but not so much on the little chops. Now, this one's nice and thick. It's made by Seed. So if you look for Seed, and you could find them on Amazon, they sell it, not cheap. But this is my favorite one. It's a little firmer. It's black with a kind of a light gray top. It's very easy to carve, and it makes very sharp images. And this may be expensive, but you can get a lot of stamps out of this, because it's it's about a 4x6, about that. So just letting you know, this I've had a lot of success with that. And you could also use something like these little vinyl erasers, the white vinyl, like Statler makes them. This is a Moo eraser, but you want the firmer eraser material. The Moo is a little soft and it doesn't give you a sharp image. It's sort of a soft. You can practically rub it. Yeah, see how I can rub it with my finger and it comes apart? You don't want that. You want something that's going to hold up. So what I do, the simple thing, instead of having to buy an expensive chop, you can make your own. The first thing that I always do, and I'm going to just kind of go through the process so you have this. I always think of, if you're going to do your initials or someone else's initials, you just have to think of a way to make it simplified. Okay, so I use Karen, that's my initials, KE, right? So I usually do a stylized version of it. So my stylized version of KE is kind of like this. So you could do, if you're like Sir Phoebe, you're PL. So if I have to think something, I would do something that I could put in this space, or if I wanted to, I could just create a little rectangle around it, and that could be my chop. Or let's say I make the rectangle, and I could put, my initial, your initial would be PL. I just have to think of just a way to make it stylized. Maybe like this or something, I don't know. But really play around with your style or your chops, your letters, how you would want it. And you want it simple as possible. So I got my KE simplified. If I kind of keep straight lines, because making a curved line is a little more difficult. I can do it, but I prefer not, because I'm lazy. But so then the next step, after you've made your design, you're like, okay, I got my design, I'm happy, and I'm just going to go for it. You use a piece of graphite, and you make your design. So like here, of course, I'm not doing it the size of the eraser that I have already done, but just to show you, let's say this is the one. You make it, you map it out, you get it to where you like. There it is. Simple, right? Super simple. I'm going to thicken the line a little bit with my pencil. Hope you can see this. There we go. And it's done, right? So now I just take a little piece of graphite. No, I actually did this. Yeah, I think I'm doing it right. I hope so. I always forget. So I'll tell you something I did this. I went the wrong way. You don't want to put it the right side on you want to put it upside down, reversed on your stamp. Because of this today, I did it this way, and now my initial is backwards. So this is the way I want it to go. This is uncarved. I'm just going to show you how I carved it. But what you want to do is you can take your design and you can just go like this. I'm going to trace over it like this with my pencil, graphite. A nice mechanical pencil, like if you have the artist pencil. something kind of thin is probably better than too thick, like so, like that, okay? And I'm gonna just take it and I'm gonna turn it over and put it on a piece of eraser, which I don't have. Oh, here, I'll just grab this. I'll just carve another one, but here's what you do. This is how easy it is. You put the graphite side down that you just made, like this, and you take a little something, even your fingernail if you have to, and you just take your fingernail or something and just kind of rub it onto the eraser. This is the graphite side is down, it's not up. And what it does is it transfers, not too well, but it transferred to the eraser. And then I can just kind of trace, you should have, if I was a little more patient, I would have kind of gotten this whole thing transferred. So now I have the design on the eraser and it's going backwards. So that's what I want. And then the next step, I can actually use this one, is I take a little cutting tool. I mean, a mat. It's very important to have a mat. And if you use the thicker block, you can carve both sides. Yeah, you're right. I could, huh, Wanda? Thank you for that. So basically, I'm going to make this little thing into a seal, or yeah, a signature. So I'm going to kind of cut this off so that it's the right size. And when you're working with X-Acto knives, they're very sharp. Make sure it's a sharp X-Acto. And I don't even need anything but an X-Acto to do this. You don't need any carving blades specific for that. Just kind of trimming it to the size. Now I'm going to take my blade and I'm going from the inside. I'm taking it at an angle. And if I could zoom this in, it'd probably be easier. I'm going to try to zoom this for you a little bit. And I know that this is something that, do this. When you do this, I think you'll, there we go. I'm going to show you that. There we go. A little closer so you can see. So I'm just taking it at an angle and I'm going to make that line 45 degrees in, and then I'm just going to do that little angle slowly but surely. I'm turning my eraser, but I'm going to keep my blade kind of in the same orientation. It just makes it easier. And I'm going to just going into that, I don't know, it's maybe a 1/16 of an inch. I'm going into the eraser or that material. And then when I get to the end, I'm going to just cut it out. And there I got the first piece out. That's how quickly this goes. And then I'm just taking the same thing. I got to go in. Oops. The angle is from the line that I want. I'm going to go in and make that cut at an angle. And just making thin little lines. You can make thin little lines this way if you want. And then just going to go in and that nice little kind of cut. I hope you can see that. Okay. Oops. I went off a little. Trying to do this in one cut. I'm getting older. So there we go. I'm able to pull that right off. And then my next line is here. Tiny. I'm hoping to get a thin line. This is my goal. I usually don't. I kind of go heavy, make heavy lines, but I'm going to see if I can get a thin line out of this. Now you notice I'm trying to keep my blade just going the same direction. It just makes for easier control. Last little section I need to cut out, and there we go. And nice deep, fairly deep, and the deeper you go, the easier it is to get that little wedge out. There you go. Okay, let's test it. See how quick that was? Let's see how it works. I always like my little Post-it notes just to do the test stamp. And if I wanted to change it, I can do that after I see the first test. I really like it just like that. So I don't have to mess with it. But there it is. That's how easy it is. And then what you do is you save your little test stamp and you cut it out with a pair of scissors. Like you just cut it out and mount it with some glue onto your stamp so that you know what you have. That is it. That I wanted to give you that little quick tutorial so you could make one yourself, because it really changes up the way your paintings are, and you can have your own unique signature that only you have. I think it's really, really cool. And here's the glue I use real quick. I'll show you that. And I love the idea of, so I just take it and I go And I like the idea of using the other side. You can, and that's cool. I'm just putting a little little bit of glue on that. And whoops. I think this is the right way. I hope I'm doing this right. There we go. Yep, there it is. And now I have it. I've got several little seals for different size paper. This little tiny one I made today is so cute. It's this little tiny one. So when I do my little artist trading cards, I have one for that. And you can just, customize it to whatever size you want. So I wanted to share that with you. Is there anything? Yeah. So Julie, yes, it is easy. It really is. Now, just have to get used to having make sure you have a nice sharp blade. And this material, like I said, is my favorite. Now here's the boo-boo. This is I put it on the wrong side, but I might use it for something, maybe just for making a pattern. So not all is lost. So what I love about these is you can make little patterns, you can make repetitive patterns and make a design that, is yours. There, I can just kind of make this fun little thing. So I'm not going to throw that away, but it just isn't going to be my signature. It'll be just something like a pattern, which I think is kind of fun. You can use that in your on your rice paper. And here, so you can see, I take this little piece and here's if you don't want to use the vermilion ink that comes, that's kind of a toxic ink. If you don't want to use the oil-based stuff, you can use this pigmented. I'm going to tell you the brand is Ranger, and the color is carnation red. I find it is as close to the vermilion as I can get. It's a perfect color. It creates those finished paintings. It looks more finished. I thought that would be fun to do. So anybody have any questions? We've got a couple, a few minutes left in our little gathering here. And do you have any questions about what I've showed you today? Anybody?
I don't see any new questions, but I saw a lot of engagement. People were really excited about the things that you were showing as you were demonstrating. So I think this was a huge hit.
Well, good. So we had fun. I hope you had fun and you got inspired to try playing with our Niji Artist Crayons. Oh, and this is ready to scratch into. And, ooh, okay, so I have to show you this because remember we did this earlier, right? With the colors, like whatever colors that I picked. Okay, so I'm going to go into it because this is the most satisfying part of this is just doing. Oh, there it is. Okay, yes. Isn't that pretty? I just love that. So this is using those I picked kind of colors that were along the same, there we are, along the same family instead of using the, oranges and, like these colors. I sort of saved some cool colors. I wanted to see how those would work. And boy, I'm just loving this. And this is like the most satisfying. I don't know. You've got to try it because it's just really satisfying. Oh, yeah. Just like that. I like that. Just like that. And once you I'm going to try scratching. Okay, so if I don't do any ink or I don't do any crayon underneath, you can see I'm scratching, but nothing comes off. So it only starts to come off when I do the with the crayon underneath, which is really fun. And then you can just have fun with that. It is really a fun experience, and it just kind of very addicting. And I kind of want to see what's underneath, and I want to make these little marks. So I can do this forever, Phoebe. But I wanted to show you that it didn't take long for that to go away, to dry, and it dried perfectly flat. And you can just kind of make your, either little scratches like this, or you can make curvy lines and just kind of have a space to wipe off the little excess, because you'll have those little crumbs that happen, the ink crumbs that will come off. But I love this little
Karen.
fiery. Yes, Phoebe?
Oh, yeah. I was going to say, we do have two questions. So
Yeah.
from Patricia, she was asking if you made the origami paper with crayon and a texture plate.
Yes. Okay. So the origami that I had showed you. Oh, yeah. Here we go. You mean the one? Let's see. I'm going to grab it in my pile. Yeah, I got a pile somewhere. Oh, I know I have it here. Okay. There you go. So, yes, with these papers, this is the origami. I didn't cut it down yet, but wherever it is, somewhere in my mess here. You can see my desk. I wish I could zoom out and show you the desk. You would probably crack it. But I did have that paper. Oh, there it is. I found it under the mess. Okay. Okay, yes, so these are the 6H paper with a texture plate underneath, and I just rubbed it, this one with the yellow and white crayon, and I did it with our brown ink, a little bit warmer, less black. And this one is with the plate I showed you earlier, and you know, I love this stuff. And this is, I didn't make it go all the way through like I did with this paper that I just did today. This one is still not dry, but this one is gonna be black on both sides, which I really like. But you know what's great about the 6H paper is it really does, it folds nicely. It's a really good paper for origami. I'm gonna make a crane. It's been a while, but I just have to show you how durable this paper is, and it's super perfect for folding. It's got the strength and it doesn't have a grain, just like origami paper is made for origami. Look at that, even that side is really interesting. So if I had a model that would needed double-sided paper, that to me looks really, really interesting. I'm just going to do a crane, but yes, and it's very nice to fold, and it's really a little bit more durable than less able to tear. So if you're doing complex folding, you can, you know, do it, and it's you know, very, very good. So I wanted to, it's been a while since I've done folded with this, and I really love, I forget how much I love it. I mean, I know I love origami paper for its convenience, but you know, why not make a paper that, or decorate a paper that's your very own, so when you do fold something, you have a little bit more investment in it, more like, you know, that's something that is unique. You will never see another crane that will look like this ever, and that just makes it more satisfying, I think, and it gets you deeper into the experience of creating, I think. So, and folding, of course, I believe is awesome for mental health, for brain health, and for mind and body connection, and for all kinds of, you know, scientific reasons for it to be healthy. Now my fingers are not black from my fingers are from doing the earlier stuff. So when you fold with this, I don't ever see a lifting of the black, because it's, once it's in the rice paper or washi, it's in there forever. There you go. Isn't that fun?
Love that. Actually, speaking of the ink, that is a perfect segue to Olivia's question. She was asking if you could talk about cleaning the ink out of the brushes, how you do that.
Okay, all right. Thank you for that. That's a good one. Okay. Right now, first of all, the Sumi inks, I don't worry about it drying in the, you know, in the tray, doesn't matter. The Higgins ink, I did put in water, and I'm going to wash that. It's a bad thing to leave brushes in like that for too long, but I had to do it for the demo. But what I'll do is I'm going to take these to the sink, and I'm going to tell you something. I love these dishes, these round dishes. They don't have a sharp edge, and the ink doesn't fly out and get all over your clothes. But anyway, I'll take this to the sink, and because it's carbon, there's no acrylic paint in here. I'm not going to, you know, cause my septic to clog. I mean, because I do have septic, or, you know, any plumbing. So, but for washing, I rinse it with water first. So whatever brushes I have, I've got these two. I rinse very thoroughly with water, cool water. And then if they're still, and I keep kind of moving the brush, like I'll do it here, like this. Ooh, I love that. I kind of see if there's any ink residue coming out of the ferrule. Keep working it until that's totally clear. Then I might add a little shampoo, because these are natural hair brushes. So I may add a little shampoo to give, you know, just to kind of get more of the agitation, to get the color out of the ferrule. You don't want the color to be inside here if you can avoid it. So just rinse it, and then if you have to do a little baby shampoo or some mild shampoo, I wouldn't use detergent, but I would do, you know, some mild shampoo, and then let it dry horizontally like this. Or if you have a way to hang it upside down, make sure they hang upside down and let them dry thoroughly, and then you can store them. I want to make some marks. Then you can store them in your brush. You know, if you have a brush thing, you can store them up this way, but don't do it while they're still wet. So there you go.
Awesome. Thank you. That was really helpful. That was a great question.
I'll bring my crane here in the picture.
A lot of love for the crane. People like
It
that
is fun,
crane.
isn't it? This is like a little this is an October crane.
Yeah. Well, thank you everybody for joining. I guess we didn't ask for any ideas for the next Facebook
Oh,
Live,
gotta
but
make sure. I want us to make sure,
yeah.
everybody, please, you're running this, please just write in the comments what kind of, what would you like to see me do or us do? And if you have any ideas, please write it in the comments because we read them and we follow them. So
Yes.
write them in there. Oh, thank you, Jeanette. So I'm reading her comment. Thank you. And nice to see you too, Randall. Nice to, I wish I could see everybody. I know you're here. Some of you, I know your faces, some I don't. But I'm really happy everybody came today. So, and art
Oh,
is exciting. Art is fun, isn't it?
yes. So, like Karen said, we welcome your comments and suggestions for more demos. Another idea we were floating around with, since it is Inktober, was to try live stream with mindful mark making using different brushes and inks. But we love hearing from you guys what you are interested in. So do let us know. All right.
Oh, and Kitty's here. Hey, Kitty. Nice that you're here. Yes, suggestions are, we'll just take suggestions for the next, week or so. So mindful mark making happens to be, I'll just type that in as a possibility. And certainly we'll put it up, we could do it. Yeah, that'd be fun. And trying different things, just like what we did. What we did today, except we can just make marks. So that'd be really fun.
Yeah, fun way to play with ink.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody. Thank you, Karen, as always. And have a good weekend, everyone.
Have a good weekend. Thanks for joining us.